Hey everyone, today I'm going to be going over the Module 1 practice test. This is going to go over all of the answers in complete detail, so please only listen to what you need to listen to. Number 1 says the table shows the animals at a petting zoo. What is the ratio of deer to the total number of animals? And explain the meaning. So when it says ratio and then words first, what I want to see is deer and then total animals. So write the ratio in words first. And then I'm going to write the ratio as a fraction. So I've got my deer right here, and then I need to add up all of these numbers to get my total animals. So 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 6 is 15 total animals. So my ratio is going to be 4 out of 15. The type of ratio is part to whole because I gave part of the group compared to the whole group. And then to explain the meaning, I'm going to say that 4 out of 15 animals are deer, because I'm describing a part to whole relationship. For number 2, it says there are 12 ghosts and 14 pumpkins. Write the ratio of pumpkins to ghosts. Remember that for ratios, order matters. So when it says words first, I'm going to write these words in the correct order. So it's going to be pumpkins over ghosts. And that is going to be 14 over 12. And then 14 and 12 both have a 2 in common. So my final ratio is going to be 7 over 6. This is a part-to-part ratio because I'm describing a comparison of two different parts. There is no mention of a total number of objects. So to explain the meaning, I'm going to say for every 7 pumpkins, there are 6 ghosts. So the meanings are a little bit different depending on part to part or part to whole. Number 3 says Mrs. Nichols got 3 out of 5 correct on her science test. Draw a tape diagram with labels to represent this ratio. When we did tape diagrams, the first thing that I had labeled was part 1, part 2, and the whole. So part 1 is going to be correct answers. Part 2 is going to be incorrect answers. And the whole is going to be total questions. Because on a test, I get questions right, I get questions wrong, and then I have the whole test. For my correct, I've got 3. For my incorrect, I'm going to have 2 because there are 5 questions. So when I draw my tape diagram, I'm going to break this into 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to have a line in between boxes 3 and 4 because these are correct and these are incorrect. This one does not give you any other information to solve, so we are done right here. Number 4 says Mr. Keim can do 30 math problems in 42 minutes. So this is my initial ratio right here. So in my table, I'm going to have math problems and then minutes. So he can do 30 math problems in 42 minutes. And then it says if he continues to work at the same rate, how long will it take him to complete 40 math problems? Well, I know that I cannot go from 30 directly to 40. So I need to divide first. Then I can multiply. So I'm going to find the greatest common factor between 30 and 42. So 30 is 1 times 30 2 times 15, 3 times 10, and 5 times 6. 30 does not go into 40, 15 does not go into 40, but 10 does. So I'm going to divide by 10 on both the top and the bottom. Nope, just kidding. It's 30 and 42, not 30 and 40, so it's not 10. 6 is going to be my greatest common factor because 30 divided by 6 is 5 and 42 divided by 6 is 7. And then I am going to multiply by 8 to get to 40, so I'm going to multiply by 8, and it's going to take 56 minutes. Number 5 says Ben mows 0.5 acres of a large field every hour. Generate the set of ordered pairs for the ratio relationship between the total acres mowed and the number of hours for a total of 1, 2, 3, and 4 hours. Then graph the relationship on the coordinate plane and describe the pattern. So it's going to be 0.5 for 1 acre, 1 for 2 acres, 1.5 for 3 hours, and 2 for 4. So it's going to be 1 and then 0.5, 2, 1, 3, 1.5, and 4, 2. To describe the pattern in the graph, I'm going to say that the graph is a line. Then I'm going to say as the number of acres increases by 0.5, the hours increase by 1. So that describes my relationship in the graph. Remember, as long as you are doing something to describe what is happening, that will be good enough for me. Number 6 says the graph shows the cost of a given number of pens, and it wants us to find the cost for 7 pens. So it looks like 1, 4, 2, 8, 3, 12. I can continue the pattern on the graph and say 4, 16, 5, 20, 6, 24, and then 7, 28. Or I could use one of the points in the graph and make a table. So I've got pens and dollars. So 1 pen is $4. So how many are 7 pens? I'm going to multiply by 7, and I get $28. So however you choose to interpret the question, whether you choose to interpret it via a table or a graph, is fine with me. Number 7 says cereal brand A advertises that they have 60 raisins in their 24-ounce box of cereal. The advertised ratio of ounces of cereal to raisins are shown in the table and the graph. So I've got brand B and brand C already given to me. Which brand advertises the greatest ratio of raisins to ounces of cereal? So that's what I'm trying to answer. And then here I want you to pay attention to the fact that it says show your evidence by graphing all 3 lines. So we want to make sure that all 3 lines end up on the same graph. So I'm going to connect these dots and call this brand C right away, since I'm going to end up with all 3 lines on the same graph. For brand A, I am going to continue my pattern, but in this instance, if I go to continue my pattern, I get 48 and 120, and I should notice that that does not fit on the graph. So I'm actually going to scale backwards. So I am going to divide by 2, and I get 12 and 30. Then I can divide by 2 again, and I get 6 and 15. And then I can divide by 3, and I get 2 and 5. Not the most perfect points to graph, but I can get them on the graph to make things a little bit easier for me, and I will be able to see the pattern. If I had continued going forward, I would not have been able to see the pattern. So for cereal brand A, I've got 2,5. So right there, 6, 15, 12, 30. So 12 is here and 30 is up here. And then 24 and 60 is going to be somewhere way up here. So those points, that last point, the first one they gave me wasn't even on the graph to begin with. So this is going to be brand A. And then brand B is going to be 6, 18. So it's going to be up here. 12, 36, 20, and then 60 is again all the way up here off of the graph. I'm going to make that a little bit lower. Make it more in line with the other two. And then 24 and 72 do not fit. So there's brand B. In this situation, the brand B line is the top part of the graph. So it's the one that's above all the other ones. That one is going to have the greatest ratio. So brand B is going to be my answer. Number 8 says some students in art class are mixing paint to make a shade of green. Max uses 4 drops of yellow paint for every 6 drops of blue. Jesus uses 2 drops of yellow paint for every 4 drops of blue. And PJ uses 5 drops of yellow for every 8 drops of blue. And I want to know which student has the greatest ratio of drops of yellow to drops of blue. This means make blue the same. And compare yellow. So I'm going to make 3 tables, one for Max, one for Jesus, and one for PJ. So I'm going to have yellow and blue, yellow and blue, and yellow and blue. So Max is 4 to 6, Jesus is 2 to 4, and PJ is 5 to 8. Now, when we first did these, we continued the pattern until we found the ones that were the same. At this point, you are allowed to say, okay, I know how to get 6, 4, and 8 to all be the same, so we're going to go directly to that number. So here I'm going to multiply by 4, here I'm going to multiply by 6, and here I'm going to multiply by 3. So times 4 gives me 16 drops of yellow, times 6 gives me 12 drops of yellow, and times 3 gives me 15 drops of yellow for 24 drops of blue. So I'm looking at these values right here. All my blues are the same, so I'm looking for who has the most yellow. And here, Max has the most yellow. So Max is my answer. Number 9 says the table gives the ratio of teachers to students at Upton Middle School. At Lakeshore Middle School, the ratio of teachers to students is 8 to 200. So I'm going to have students, teachers. And I've got 200 here and 8 here, just to make sure that my tables look the same. It says circle the statement that correctly compares the ratio of the teachers to students at the 2 schools. You must show your work. So we have to show how we got there somehow. So it says both schools have an equivalent ratio of students to teachers. There are more students per teacher at Lakeshore Middle School than Upton. There are more students at Lakeshore Middle School than at Upton Middle School. And there are more students per teacher at Upton Middle School than at Lakeshore Middle School. So the first thing I'm going to notice is that I have a comparison of St. Joe students to teachers as 25 to 1. And there is a way to get my teachers to be a 1. And I'm going to divide by 8. 8 does go into 200. It goes into 200 25 times, I believe. So 25, 50, 75, 100, 25, 50, 75, 100. Yep, 8 times. And when I get to that point, 25 to 1 and 25 to 1 are the exact same. So both schools have an equivalent ratio of students to teachers. And this is very similar to that last question where I got the drops of yellow or blue to be the same and then compared the yellow. Here I got the teachers to be the same and I compared the students because it says the ratio of students to teachers. So I got the teachers to be the same and compared the students. Number 10 says 11 out of 19 people surveyed at the mall have a dog. Based on these results, of the 133 total people at the mall, how many don't have a dog? So I've got have and don't have and total. I'm going to create a table for this one. So 11 out of 19 have a dog, so that means that 8 do not. Based on these results of the 133 total people, so 103 total people. And I'm going to use my multiplication chart here. And to get from 19 to 133, I am multiplying by 7. That means I'm going to multiply each part of my table by 7. And I get 77 and 56. And I want to answer the question, how many people don't have a dog? 56 people. Number 11 says, Ellie has 4 dimes for every 7 pennies in her change purse. So I've got dimes, pennies, and total coins. How many coins will she have in her purse if she has 36 dimes? So 4, 7, 11, because it's a part to part. And I have 36 dimes, so times 9 in each space. So I get 63 and then 99. So 99 total coins. Number 12 says the ratio of juniors to seniors. I'm going to say total students. Okay, the ratio of juniors to seniors on the track team is 5 to 9. So there are 14 total students. How many juniors are on the track team if there's 112 athletes? So I'm going to use my multiplication chart again. 112 and 14 is going to be times 8. So times 8. Times 8, so 40 and 72. It says how many juniors are on the track team? There are 40 juniors. Number 13 says a pitcher contains 4.5 pints of iced tea. How many fluid ounces of iced tea are in the pitcher? So I'm going from pints to fluid ounces. So I'm going to have 1 pint is 2 cups and 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. So I need 2 tables. So I need to go from pints to cups and then from cups to fluid ounces. So 1 pint is 2 cups, and I have 4.5 pints. So I'm going to multiply by 4.5. 2 times 4.5 is 9. Then I've got 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup. And I'm going to bring my 9 over. So times 9 is going to be 72 fluid ounces. Number 14 says the weight of the items in a truck is 2/5 of a ton. How many pounds do the items in the truck weigh? So tons to pounds, there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. Because they're directly connected, I'm only doing one conversion. So I'm going to do pounds and tons. So 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. So I've got 2/5 of a ton. So I'm going to do times 2/5. It's going to be about 800. 2,000 times 2 is 4,000. And 4,000 divided by 5 is 800. So this is going to be 800 pounds. Number 15 is rates and unit rates. So it says the bicyclist traveled 45 miles in 3 hours. How many miles per hour? Remember that the per means this one goes on the bottom. So 45 miles in 3 hours. Then I'm going to divide by 3. So I get 15 miles in 1 hour. Um, 16 says Sally bought 4 notebooks for $2. How much did she pay for each notebook? So pay for each notebook. That means that notebooks goes on the bottom. So $2 for 4 notebooks. And I'm dividing by 4. So I get 0.50 for 1 notebook. So 50 cents for 1 notebook. Number 17 says Lisa rides her bicycle 24 miles every 10 hours. So I've got miles and hours. So 24 miles every 10 hours. At this rate, how many hours did she ride if she rode for 60 miles last week? So I've got to simplify this first. I'm actually going to divide by 2. So I get 12/5, and then times 5. So 25 hours. Number 18 says a warehouse sells 15-ounce cans of soup in a case. Each case contains 4 cans and sells for a price of $15. So I'm going to set up my warehouse first. So dollars and cans. So I've got $15 for 4 cans. And then it says at a grocery store. So I've got a grocery store. Dollars and cans. It says 7 15-ounce cans of the same brand of soup are on sale for $28. A caterer needs to buy 56 cans. How much will the caterer save by buying 56 cans from the warehouse instead of the grocery store? So I'm going to do times 14. And then over here, I'm going to do times 8. For 15 times 14, I can use my multiplication chart. So I get 210. And for 28 times 8, I'm just going to do it right up over here. 64. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 6 is 22. So 224. And then I'm going to do 224 minus 210, and I get $14. So you will save $14 by buying from the warehouse. Number 19 says you mix 24 tablespoons of chocolate sauce and 6 cups of milk in a green cup. In an orange cup, you mix 5 cups of milk with 15 tablespoons of chocolate sauce. Which mixture tastes more chocolatey? So I'm going to have green and orange. So I'm going to have chocolate and milk. Chocolate and milk. So I've got 24 and 6, and then over here I've got 15 and 5. And I'm going to make the milk the same and compare the chocolate. So I'm going to do this times 5 and this times 6. So this is going to be 30. 24 times 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10. So 120. And then here I'm going to have 30 and 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. When I have the milk the same and I compare the chocolate, the green mixture has more chocolate compared to milk, so the green will be more chocolatey. Number 20 says the table shows the times it took several people at the gym to jog different numbers of laps around the track. Indicate which jogger has a jogging rate that is equivalent to each rate. So for Daniel, let's see what we can do for Daniel. We've got laps and minutes. So 6 laps in 4.5 minutes is the same as 12 laps in 9 minutes. So if I multiply by 2 to get rid of the decimal, then I can divide by 3 to see if any of these work. So I get 4 laps in 3 minutes. Oh, look, it's the first one. So Daniel is the first one. So I multiplied by 2 to get rid of the decimal, and then I divided by 3 to see if one of these worked. For Melissa, let's change colors for Melissa. I've got 10 laps in 5 minutes. That's going to be 2 laps in 1 minute. That's going to be, so if I do this times 6, that's going to be the second one, 12 laps in 6 minutes. Let's see, Trevin. Laps, minutes. Trevin is 12 to 8. If I simplify that, I get 3 over 2. And if I multiply that by 3, I get 9 and 6. So Trevin's going to be this third one. And then obviously Julia has to fill in the space for the last one. Let's see if I can show how that works really quick. So laps and minutes. I've got 8 and 5. If I divide by 2, I get 4 and 2.5. And then if I multiply that by 3, I get 12 and 7.5. So it does work out for Julia. In this case, they went in order. they won't always go in order. Okay, so I just showed how I can make each of these ratios equal to something over here. Number 21 says, during the grand opening of a store, 2 out of every 15 customers receives a $20 coupon. So coupon, no coupon, and total. So 2 out of 15 receives a coupon and 13 do not. If there were 435 customers at the store, what was the total value of the coupons that were given out? So I've got to figure out how many coupons were given out. That's going to be this one. And then I've got to multiply by 20. So 435 into, or 15 into 435. So 15 times 15 is 225. 15 times 20 is 300. Let's do 15 times 27. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 1 is 7. 8, 9, 10. So 105. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. This one is 3. That's going to be 405. Okay. Let's try 29. I think that's going to work. So 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 4 is 13. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. 435. Awesome. Okay. So I multiplied by 29. So 2 times 29 is 58. So 58 coupons were given out. And I'm going to do 58 times 20. 2 times 8 is 16. Carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. So $1,160 in coupons were given out at the store that day. This is the end of the Module 1 practice test. Please let me know if you have any other questions.